Okay guys, I'm gonna do a few of these, just cover the basics. This should not be anything close to new to you. This is stuff you should have mastered from Im2. All right, I just wanna make sure we are comfortable with it going forward because we're gonna be doing a lot of solving as we go into Im2. All right, let's take a look at number 1. Okay, so what I like to do when I solve these problems is I like to split my equation to the left side and the right side. So I put a little line through the equal sign, okay? So that's the first thing I like to do. The next thing I like to do is try to find where is my variable I am solving for. Is it on the left side or is it on the right side? So if you notice, the variable I need to solve for is on the left side, okay? So that means I'm going to ignore the right side for now, and I want to get my variable on the left side isolated or all by itself. So if you notice here, A is not by itself. We have this number 12 here. So I need to get rid of the 12. To get rid of the 12, you got to ask yourself this question. What operation, okay, in this case it's going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. What operation is the number I'm trying to get rid of, in this case 12, okay, and this is where we want to answer. So if you look, we know we have to get rid of the 12 to get A all by itself on the left side of the equal sign. So we ask yourself, is the number we're trying to get rid of, 12, is it adding, is it subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? So you have to look at this and decide which one of these things is 12 doing. And the answer is 12 is actually dividing, okay? Once you understand what it's doing, you do the opposite of division. So 12 is dividing, and then the opposite of division is multiplication, okay? So again, this is review. I'm not going into much detail. So to get rid of 12, since it's dividing, I want to do its opposite, which is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply to both sides. So we're going to multiply by 12. And what you do to one side of the equal sign, you must do to the other. Okay? So because we're doing this, these now cancel out. And now we're left with just A by itself, equal sign, and now we just have to do the math, 13 times 12. Okay? So with your trusty calculator, or you could do it manually. Hold on, let me get somebody come in real quick. Okay? I'm going to show you manually because everybody knows how to work a calculator, but you may have forgotten how to do it manually. All right, so if you had to do it on paper, it would look something like this. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. And then we put our placeholder. I use an X. Some people use a 0. Then we go 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. So then we add this stuff up. So that's 6, 5, 1. Okay, so that's how we do number 1. Yeah.
So you times the 13 and 12, we got 26.
No, I did this. You're talking about here, right?
Yeah, I was just curious how you got those two.
So what you want to do is you're going to start with the 2 here. And then you go 2 times 3 is 6. And then you could take this 2 and then do 2 times the other top number, which is 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. So I did 2 times 3 first, that gave me 6, and then 2 times 1 is 2, and that's how I got 26 here. Yeah, and then here I put a placeholder. You could put 0, but you want to skip a space. And I did the next bottom number. 1 times 3 is 3, and then 1 times 1 is 1. Cool? Yeah, sometimes we forget how to do old math because we haven't had to do it in so long. There's times I forget how to do some simple stuff like fractions and stuff. I have to remind myself because I really don't use it that much. I use these other stuff. Okay, so A is equal to 156. Let's jump to number 2 because I really want to go over number 2 because it looks a little different. All right, so first thing I want to do is split my equation. Okay, and then ask myself, what side is my variable on? Is it on the left side or the right side? So in this case, it's on the right side, which is different than this problem. So my variable's on the right side, which means I need to get this variable all by itself. The problem is this negative here. And this is actually not negative b. The way you should really say this, it's really negative 1 times b. Okay? So that's what this negative really means. It means b is being multiplied by a negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite this to reflect what I just said. So it's really not negative b, it's really negative 1 times b. All right? So if you think of it that way, it's a lot easier to see what to do here. So I have to get b by myself. So we ask ourselves this question. What operation is happening with the number that I'm trying to get rid of? I'm trying to get rid of the negative 1 because we want b all to be lonely. So what operation's happening? And the answer is it's multiplication. It's negative 1 times b. So we have multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So that means to get rid of the negative 1, we are going to divide by negative 1. And what you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other. The negative 1s cancel out. And now we could just do the math. 32 divided by negative 1. Again, it's okay to use a calculator. Use it if you have it. 32 divided by negative 1. Negative 32. Bring down the equal sign. And the only thing we have left is b. So now we ask ourselves, is b by itself? Absolutely. This is our final answer here. Okay, so again, I'm going to erase this work a little bit here. You have to understand this, start saying this as negative 1 times b. I call this negative 1 my skinny friend. Okay, b has his skinny friend negative 1 next to him. So it's really negative 1 times b. All right, but the problems you're going to have are going to look like this. They're not going to have that negative 1 in there. So you have to be able to rely on your memory and say, whoa, that's really a negative 1, so I got to divide by negative 1. All right. Let's jump over to number 3. Again, here's my equal sign. We're solving, so I'm going to put my line down. Then ask myself, is my variable on the left side or the right side? Since it's on the left side, I want to get the v by itself, which means this 18 has to go away. Okay, so he has to disappear. So make him disappear, I ask myself, what operation is my number doing? So what is this 18 doing? Is it adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? So in this case, as you notice, it's adding. It's adding there. What's the opposite of addition? Hopefully you know the opposite of addition is subtraction. So that means to get rid of the positive 18 or the adding 18, we're going to subtract 18. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. The 18s cancel out. We're left with just the letter V. And then we do this math. 25 minus 18 is 7. So V equals 7. Okay? All right, guys. I did 3 problems. I want you to do 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay? We're going to go over them in about 25 minutes. So right now it's 8:42. Let's get back here at 9:10, 9:15-ish. Okay? 9:10, 9:15-ish. We'll go over these problems. Please try them. So I'll see you at 9:10 or 9:15. If you finish early, start working on the calendar stuff if you have it. Okay? When you come back, we'll go over these problems and we'll also do the access code to check in. All right? I'll stay in here if you need help. Good luck. So if you do number 4 correctly, we're trying to get rid of the 11, which means the 11's adding, so the opposite of addition is subtraction. So x is going to equal 18. All right, number 5. My variable's on the left side, which means I have to get rid of everything but my n. So this 5 has to go away. What's the 5 doing? It's subtracting. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. What you do to one side, do to the other. N equals 20. Number 6. My variables on the right side, get rid of everything but the k on the right side. So I want to get rid of the 11. What's the 11 doing? It's subtracting. The opposite of subtraction is addition. What you do to one side, do to the other. This cancels. We have 11 equal to k. Again, I know it looks backwards there, but you're allowed to do that in math. Okay, your variable does not always have to be on the left side. It could be on either side. All right, for 7, I kind of did it earlier, but I'm just going to re-explain it again. So again, we have p on the right side, which means we have to get rid of everything but p. So the thing I have to get rid of is this guy, this negative 10. What's the negative 10 doing? When it's written like this, where it's the number and the variable next to each other, the way you read this is not negative 10p. It's actually negative 10 times p. So get used to saying negative 10 times p, because it's a lot easier to solve when you understand that this is multiplication. So we have multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to get rid of the negative 10 by dividing negative 10 to both sides. Negative 10's cancel out. I'm left with p. 20 divided by negative 10 is negative 2. And then the last one. $19 and x. So make sure you understand that we are actually, the 19 and x, what operation they're doing, it's multiplication. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So it's not 19x, it's 19 times x. We got to get rid of that 19. So to get rid of multiplication, we're going to divide both sides by 19. I know it's kind of hard to see with that script there, but you get the idea. Negative 114 divided by 19, throw that in your calculator, you get negative 6 equals to x. All right. So that's how you do these here. Check them. I'll give you a minute to check them if you want to check them. And then I'm going to give you the access code. And then for the rest of the period, I will stay on if you need me to stay on. Okay, if you have questions. But you're going to be working on the calendar stuff, the calendar assignment, which is, I want to say 1 through 20 all, which is quite a bit of work. So I'm going to give you time now to do it. So don't forget, add these to the Wednesday's upload. I can come back to this if you need it, but here is the check-in code. Make sure you check in so I can mark you present. So your check-in code today is paper. P-A-P-E-R.